Number 1. Don't try to look up guides. This may sound really strange when I'm making a video about tips and tricks and all, but Romancing Saga Minstrel Song is a very non-linear game with very deep and interesting game mechanics where the fun lies in slowly discovering what the game has in store. So try not to give in to your curiosity and look up guides beforehand, as it may spoil you something, big or small. Your first playthrough will be more enjoyable that way. Number 2. What is event rank and why should you care? Even though the game doesn't have a calendar or even a day-night cycle, there is a very clear time progression through the event rank system. After a few battles, your event rank will rise, and depends on your current rank, some quest lines may open up or be closed from access. More powerful monsters would also start to appear. The world of the game keeps on moving with or without your involvement. Though, only victories count into your event rank progress, so feel free to escape from combat if you want to keep your rank low. The event rank used to be hidden, but new to the remaster is this handy little clock in the menu, so if you want to check what rank you currently are at, just bring up the menu. Also, you can decide the speed of which the event rank progress at the beginning of the game. If you choose slow progress, it will take more battles to raise one rank, so it's kinda like the normal difficulty, while the normal progress is the hard difficulty. If you're new to the game, then I recommend going with slow progress so you can have more leeway to mess around with the combat of the game and doesn't get too overwhelmed with everything the game throws at you. Number 3. Try to avoid needless battles. Aside from the event rank system that I mentioned earlier, there are also quite a few other things that you should keep in mind when getting into combat. And that is that the game doesn't have a normal leveling up system nor a skill tree to invest in. Instead, during a battle, the weapon you use as well as the attacks you carry out will have a chance to unlock new techniques. And after a battle, depends on what techniques you used, the characters will have a chance to have their stats raised. Like, if you use a lot of spells, then the character's intelligence will be more likely be raised. If you use martial arts techniques, then the character's agility will be raised more, so on and so forth. If you face off powerful enemies, then the chances of you learning new techniques as well as having your stats raised are significantly larger than if you grind with weak mobs. So unless you really have to, try to avoid battles when you're moving around if you could. Does this mean the game is anti-grinding? Kinda yes, but also kinda no. I think it's more that the game tries to encourage grinding wisely more than anything. And unless you play on normal progress and spend hours going back and forth in one place, fighting the same groups of enemies, I don't think your party will be that gamed, stat-wise. Since the enemies are visible on the field and you only get into battle if you got touched by one, you can avoid needless battle by avoiding the enemies altogether. But if you get spotted, you can lose the enemies by taking advantage of their moving balance. A lot of the enemies just charge straight at you and can be avoided by simply zigzagging, but there are also enemies with special movement patterns like the flying demon teleports in front of you, or the lizards stop when you look at them. If you still find it hard to avoid enemies even after remembering their moving patterns, then you can use the lurk proficiency. It only lasts a few seconds, but it can be a game changer at times. If you got caught, then you can use the smoke bombs to easily escape provided you don't get caught in a changed battle. Smoke bombs is new to the remaster and is a usable item, so remember to actually equip it on a character or you won't be able to use them at all. If you run out of smoke bombs, then you can recharge them by resting at a deluxe or a Bella Inn. Number 4. Don't waste your jewels early on. To unlock or level up classes, you need to use jewels to pay up. You can get jewels from winning battles, but the amount you can get is just pitiful to say the least. That, combined with the event rank system, means you should avoid crying for jewels, period. The second method is by finishing quests, but early on, you're not very likely to be able to complete that many quest lines, provided you're not using a guide, of course. So, unless you know what you're doing, don't go around buying new classes for every character you run across. That said though, there is a trick to get a lot of jewels with little efforts involved, and that is to equip the lurk and move silently proficiencies. Every time you use a proficiency, you are rewarded with 1 jewel. So by equipping the previously mentioned 2 proficiencies, you can gain easy jewels with just a few balance pressed. When you run out of proficiencies to use, just run back to a town and rest in the inn. And thanks to the remastered speed up options, you can get enough chores to level up the classes of your main party to at least 2 in almost no time at all. Number 5. You can actually recruit the minstrel. If you have an empty slot in your party, you can keep asking the minstrel to play you a song and eventually he will offer to join you. Not only he looks cool, can play an instrument and tell old tales, the minstrel can also really hold his own in a battle to boot too. What's not to love about him? That said though, he will automatically leave your party whenever you reach a new pub, so keeping him around could be a hassle. Number 6. Look out for red materials when smithing. Normally, you can only smith one material on a weapon, but sometimes when smithing, you could see the name of a material being red instead of black like usual. This means that the material is harmonious with the weapon, so by forcing the material into the weapon and use it in melee battles, the weapon could become a plus version of itself. You will then be able to smith the weapon with another material of your choice. The in-game explanations, particularly with Gray's personal questline, tells you to break the weapon, but you actually only need to use the weapon until its name change. Remember that. Don't make the same mistake that I once made. You may never be able to see certain materials ever again if you're unlucky enough. Number 7. You can actually choose the order of your party. Normally, the order of your party is determined by the agility stat of your characters, but by pressing a button at the very beginning of your turn, you can choose the order yourself. Though this is actually just delaying the turn of your fast characters so they act after the slow ones, so keep that in mind when you're thinking up your strategies. Number 8. Try to recruit all the main characters at least once. Even if you don't intend on keeping the characters around, by having them join your party, you gain access to new places on the map, thus unlocking more places to explore and potentially more quests to complete. And completing more quests is basically the whole point of the game. Number 9. When lost, face the camera. Minstrel Song has a 3D rotating camera system, but the game doesn't let you control the camera freely. Instead, whenever you take a turn somewhere, the camera will also turn together with the character. Because of that, the direction will always turn out to be the direction of the exit. So, whenever you feel lost inside a dungeon, just run towards the camera and you'll be able to get back in town in no time. There are a few exceptions to this rule, but I think it's only 1 or 2 specialized dungeons. Lastly, save a lot and save multiple slots. Due to the event rank system and non-linear character progression, there could come a time where you find yourself stuck at a boss or in a dungeon. The game will warn you when you are about to enter a quest that doesn't allow you to leave until you've cleared it. But trust me, you will need those backup save slots. And that's it. That's some of my tips for the game. Thank you for watching to the end. Hope you find the video somewhat helpful and hope you enjoy the game a lot. Have a good day.